Okay, but let's just make the analogy. The legislature did say if the applicant made the misrepresentation, you could go back and revoke. Now what you have is an inspector general saying it was the department that made the misrepresentation. And you want to tell me that those two things aren't consistent? Of course they are. Of course they are. And as the senator said, no legislature would say that you could read the things, the issues, the failings, the lack of compliance with the law, the clear direction opposite of the law in the Inspector General's report, and have a legislature expect you to uphold that decision. No way. And we could poll all 200 of them, and I think all 200 legislators would tell you, because they told me as my amendment was being discussed, there is no way. So I ask all of you, because I agree with Senator Tarr, as offensive as the conclusions and the findings are in that report, if asked, I would say that I believe all of you share the same goals that I do for education. I would say that all of you share the same goals that my constituents and my parents value for education. I would say that this situation is probably one of the most unfortunate that any board would have to go to. But I would also say this. You have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to the kids in my district. You have a responsibility to every charter application that comes before you from today to however long we allow charters in this Commonwealth. Now, the secretary wasn't one of the members of this board who voted for the application to go forward. The secretary is now one of the members of this board who has said, in light of all of the revelations that have come out over this past year, he no longer believes that this school should go forward. Now, we talked about the legal authority. I think you have it. We've talked about the secretary's position in terms of being the leader of this board and leader of educational issues for Massachusetts, and we know what his opinion is. You know what my district's opinion is. You know what the senator's, you know what mine is, and the Inspector General could not have been any clearer when he said that this should be voided, that it never legitimately existed. And if you don't, I agree with the senator, if you don't believe, because I see the secretary shaking his head that he doesn't believe, if you don't believe it, then by all means, table this motion, table any action that you're going to take today, and bring it to the Attorney General's office. That is your legal counsel. She will be the one who will have to defend this suit. And let me tell you, again, it's not a threat. It's a reality of what's coming. There will be suits filed. My guess is no matter what action you take, there will be suits filed. So I believe it is in the best interest of the board, the best interest in this process going forward, because today will not be the last day, for this board to seek the Attorney General's opinion to find out if, in fact, the Attorney General believes that you have the authority to go back and to void this charter. Now, one other comment that I want to make. The Inspector General was clear in his report. He did not say to revoke. He did not say to reconsider. And although I think you have the ability and the legal authority to do both, he said to void, as if it never existed. And again, if you follow the reasoning, and if you follow the logic, the findings, and the conclusion of his report, it is hard at the face of it, not even to get into the statutes and regulations that allegedly have been broken, but even the application itself. The commissioner will not recommend to go forward unless the charter school office deems that the criteria was met. This wasn't arbitrary. This wasn't, well, I want to stand behind the findings of the charter school office. This was the charter school office, nationally renowned, the national model, the national authority. If they say it met the criteria, which the law calls for, then it goes forward. If they said it didn't, then it didn't and it doesn't go forward. There can't be any bright line yellow test brighter than that. It is that simple. And one other point I'd like to make before I leave here, because I'm personally offended at this, okay? I was told as a legislator at a legislative oversight committee that there were meetings that took place afterward with the commissioner, with his staff, with the oversight, with the charter school office committee, and that it was then determined, after all of these interviews and discussions and what have you, that the decision in the mind of the Charter School Office, the Commissioner, there was a change of heart. The Inspector General's office and his report, through interview, through a forensic review of emails, shows that that never took place. Now, I understand there are things that people do in government because of politics. I get that. I'm not that naive. But this is too important to my district to be decided on politics. This is something that needed to be determined and evaluated on merit by the reviewers of the Charter School Office, not because of political pressure. Now, I ask the board, I ask you again, I still have faith in the board and I still have faith in process. I ask you to do the right thing and to revoke this charter. And if you feel as though the only thing holding you back from doing that is the fact that you believe that you may not have the legal authority, then send that question to the Attorney General and let her opine on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Ferrante.